Good evening, everyone. I'm Sadhu Parik Gupta, and welcome to another Ideal Cure Smile webinar. Our speaker for today really needs no introduction. Rujuta Divekar, who is a celebrity nutritionist. She has changed the way we view nutrition in India, especially for me. And she has authored 8 books which have sold more than 1 million copies worldwide. Recently, she was a part of the Fit India dialogue with PM Narendra Modi, where they exchanged notes on the goodness of local foods and local vegetables, which is what Rujuta is going to talk about today also. So, without taking up more time, um, I present Rujuta to everyone. I hope everyone enjoys the session. And Rujuta will be taking questions at the end of the session. So, I request everyone to please put the questions in the chat mode. When you're putting the questions, make sure that they are to the attendees as well as the panelists. That's it from me. Please enjoy the webinar. Hi, Rujuta.
Hi, Sarayu. Thank you very much for having me here. Just 1 second, huh? Give me
Yes.
a minute.
So I'm sure everyone's quite excited. I'm excited. Rujuta has curated this webinar especially for the pharmaceutical fraternity, and she's going to give us really good tips on how we can manage our nutritional needs and especially how we can manage work and life balance and make sure that we stay fit. I'm really looking forward to these tips, Rujuta.
Thank you very much, Sarayu. In fact, I'm also really looking forward to start chatting with all of you. I'm just having a little issues with, you know, with my video, and as soon as they are resolved, I'm going to join. I think we should be able to join in a second. I
No
think Gina from my team already spoke to all of you very recently, you know. So, all right. First of all, a very warm welcome to all of you, and thank you very much for having me here as a part of this webinar to talk about health, fitness, eating local, thinking global. But before I start talking about that, I want to tell you about my own personal story. Okay, my own personal story about how I went about choosing this career, my career as a fitness professional. So, well, before I completed my PG in sports science and nutrition, I was actually doing my undergrad in industrial chemistry. And while I was doing my undergrad in industrial chemistry, what I discovered is that um, my internship was in a pharmaceutical industry. I was really taken in by the world of pharma, everything that happened there. And I'm really, really grateful for my opportunity to be able to intern at the pharma industry because I got to see up close and personal the hard work, the determination, and the grind that it takes to be a part of this industry. Whether you work in the QA/QC, whether you're a part of the packaging unit, whether you are, in the on the manufacturing side, whether you are in sales, whether it's marketing that you do, I think it is one of the toughest professions that one can possibly belong to. And I also feel that it is probably the only thing in the medical industry which doesn't really get the applause that it deserves. So, first of all, I want to say that thank you very much for all the hard work that you all put in on a daily basis. It is thanks to the efforts that you do that a lot of people can actually go on with their day to day life. It is because of what you produce. It is because of the quality control and assurances that you do. It is because of your timely distribution. It is because of you keeping the prices accessible that a lot of people have access to good health. And while we may all be very vocal and and applaud many people within the medical field, we often forget that the actual drivers of change, the actual drivers of hard work, the actual drivers of medicine are people who slog day in and day out. And really, I mean, you guys are the silent, strong force of the healthcare, um, of public healthcare. So thank you very much for everything that you do, and do know that there are many people like me who are aware of what it takes to be a part of the pharma industry. I mean, you guys left your loved ones behind during the lockdown. You came in the essential category. You went about your work with all the hard work, courage, and resolve. And, you know, sometimes as general public may not really be appreciative of it, but come to think of it, we all do know that what keeps us strong and going, it is what the pharmaceutical industry does on a day-to-day basis. Now I also want to tell you that why I quit. I quit simply because I realized that it is way too much hard work, that it was much more hard work than what I was prepared to do. And largely this is what I'm prepared to do. I'm prepared to like sit and chat and maybe roam around a little bit, maybe on the gym floor and stuff, but it doesn't come close to walking around on the shop floor. It is not half as close as as tough as standing in those QA and QC labs, ensuring that the DT is happening the way it should be within 15 minutes, that you're living up to everything in the IP and the BP and the USP. It was too much work, so I decided let's become a fitness professional. So that's my personal story that you should know. And the reason why you should know is because I know that it takes a lot of hard work to do what you do, and that it also takes a lot of brains and determination and resolve to do what you're doing. So that's my start. And now we'll get down to what is it that we can do from our homes, from our own kitchens, from everything that we have access to ensure that we are staying strong and healthy and fit, and keeping our family strong, healthy, and fit during these times. Okay, so I'm going to be talking to you about top 3 things, typically the stuff that I don't talk to everyone else, but people in the pharma industry know and understand the body far better than everyone. So I'm going to be talking to you about 3 things that I typically don't talk to at most webinars. All right, so the first one that I want to talk to you about is body weight. And the reason why I want to talk to you about body weight is because we all know that, sometimes even the smartest brains can go on a mad rush of wanting to lose weight. Now, the thing is that we have oversimplified the relationship between body weight and health, that we've all somehow begun to believe that if we lose weight, we are going to see improvements on the health front. Well, no one knows this better than any one of you. You don't need to lose weight to get healthier. Most times, and in fact, all times, what you need is that you need to get healthier so that you're able to lose weight. That's how this equation moves. It doesn't move from drop weight to improve health. It moves from improve health to see a consistent drop in weight. And the reason why you must gain health before you so that you can drop weight so is because this time when you drop weight because of improvements in health, it will be permanent and it will be irreversible. All right, if you are just chasing weight loss to gain health, then you keep doing the same wrong things. What are these same wrong things that we do? The same wrong things that we do when we want to go, when we just want to lose weight for no good reason whatsoever, is number one, we begin to look at food from the point of view of carbohydrate, protein, and fat. And then depending on what the current villain is, we start removing that food group from our diet. So about 10 years ago, what we were removing is things like ghee, makhan, nuts, dry fruits, and the likes. Okay, in 2020, what we are removing is rice, chapatis, um, fresh fruits, because we are all like, carb is a problem now. 10 years ago, Fat was the problem. But for all of you with a scientific bent of mind, you do know that no a particular molecule is a problem. It is always about the combination. Um, Even if it's a miracle drug like a paracetamol or an ibuprofen, what you need is how things come together, what time you have it, and in how much dose you will have it. You all know that better than anyone else. You all also know that science is exact. So it's not that 10 years ago, paracetamol was an analgesic, but 10 years later, it's not going to be an analgesic. It's going to be something else. That is not how it works. That's not how science works, which is exactly why when people who live on the other side, us nutritionists and not the ones who belong to the pharma industry, when we start saying things like 10 साल पहले फैट की वजह से आप फैट हो रहे थे, अभी 10 साल के बाद आप कार्बोहाइड्रेट की वजह से फैट हो रहे हो, so then of course I'm sure that you're all able to see how unscientifically we are talking, because the only thing that constitutes science as far as food health and well-being goes are not molecules but the bigger picture. What is the bigger picture? The bigger picture is is exactly like how a pharmaceutical company sees itself. It's not just having a strong manufacturing side. It's not just having a strong QA and a QC lab. It's not just having strong packaging. It's not just having good sales and marketing. It's about having everything correct. It's about working equally on all departments, which is why even an intern is put through every single department, because there is no one department which is bigger than the other. There is no one job which is bigger than the other. Similarly, when it comes to food health and well-being, it's really about having this big picture about health. And the big picture about health is, what is the culture that I belong to? What is the climate of the area that I live in? What is the crop cycle like? What is growing here locally? And what is my cuisine like? How does my specific home cuisine bring all of these things together? My culture, my climate, my crop cycle. And how does that get cooked or manufactured into beautiful nutraceuticals at home, which I have access to, which enhance my health, which enhance my well-being, which enhance the my skin health, my hair health, my digestion, my assimilation, my absorption, my excretion, all of it. So when it comes to food, only losers think about it from the point of view of carbohydrate, protein, and fat. All of the sensible people think about it from the point of view of crop cycle, culture, climate. To put it simply, eat food which is local, eat food which is in season, eat food which is traditional. By traditional, I mean which is being cooked in your homes according to the recipe, which is time tested. It is a recipe that your family endorses. That's how you should be cooking, because when you eat local, seasonal, traditional is when you will really build health. And because you have built health, you will lose weight. Don't just focus on losing weight. It will get you nowhere. It will just get you on the next diet plan, which brings me to point number 2, which is really the next diet plan that I'm talking about, often called also as intermittent fasting. But before that, while we are still on point 1 and looking at food as carbohydrate, protein, and fat, do remember that when you completely remove one food group from your diet and focus excessively on just fat or on just protein, you're not going to lose weight, but you may see yourself all the way to your death. In fact, recently this evening, there's been a news of a very, very young actor who went into renal failure just because of being on a diet. So a diet which was rich in protein and fat, but removed her, disassociated her, disconnected her from her culture, cuisine, and climate. So let's not go there. All right. So that's one. The second diet that I'm now talking to you about is about intermittent fasting, or about people keeping long gaps in their two meals, again, in the hope of weight loss. Some people are even more cleaner than the idea of weight loss, and they're like, हम लोग ये weight loss के लिए नहीं, हम लोग ये cleanse के लिए कर रहे हैं. Where to all those people, I would like to say कि इसके लिए हमारे पास हिंदी में एक कहावत भी है, और जब अपना just about गुजारा होता रहता है, when you're just about sailing through but not really getting anywhere in life, this is what you tend to say, that चलो भाई दो वक्त की रोटी तो मिल रही है, तो दो वक्त की जब रोटी हमको मिलती है, जब हम सिर्फ दो वक्त का खाना खाते हैं, तो वो आइडियल या एस्पिरेशनल नहीं रहता, वो बस गुजारा करना होता है. और अगर आप फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्री में हो, तो ऑफ कोर्स मैं ये कहूंगी, और मैं ये जानती हूँ that you will be not just driven and focused, but you will obviously be very, very ambitious. And what we want with ambition is more of all resources, not less of all resources. We do know कि अभी क्या हुआ था. अभी ये हुआ था कि जब मार्केट में ये पता चला था कि दवाइयों की कमी होगी, तो people hoarded medicines. And on the other hand, like the minute you know that there are adequate amount of medicines that you will have access to, then people just buy the strips that they need to live through that 1 month or 2 weeks. Now, what intermittent fasting does to people is that it tells them that if you eat just once or just twice, then it is going to help you lose weight. It's getting into the same trap. If you just remove fat, you're going to lose weight. If you just remove carbohydrate, you're going to lose weight. If you just remove eating for many hours from your life and you subject yourself to just one meal a day or 2 meals a day, then you're going to lose weight. Again, science and studies time and again are showing that people who are on intermittent fasting are not really seeing any health benefits. All that they are seeing is drop in muscle mass. And what happens with drop in muscle mass is you are getting insensitive to insulin. You're increasing your insulin resistance, though you first wanted to lose weight to improve insulin resistance. But all that happens when you sacrifice on your muscle tissue is that you land up having insulin resistance. You will have leptin resistance. You will have many other problems. You may have excessive cortisol floating in your body. So आप weight loss के लिए जा रहे हो, लेकिन health loss is what you're getting as a part of the deal. So please do not succumb to these kind of things. In fact, every time that there is a new weight loss scheme, I keep thinking about it exactly like how it's like a new money making scheme. Sit at home, do no work, and earn a lakh of rupees. I've seen plenty of those ads. I'm sure you've seen them too. They sound exactly like this. और कुछ नहीं करना है, सिर्फ राइस निकालना है अपने डाइट से, और कुछ नहीं करना है, बस एक बार 11 बजे खाना है और फिर एक बार रात के 10 बजे खाना है, and then eat nothing at all, and then you're going to lose weight. None of us is going to lose weight like this. What we need things or strategies to help ourselves build better health. And better health comes from being connected to culture, cuisine, and climate, or local, seasonal, traditional. Remember, in our tradition, there is very much a tradition of nashta. There is very much a tradition of making achar, of making matri, of making shankar pare, of making subah ka nashta, sham ka nashta, raat ka dinner, afternoon lunch. So you cannot divorce yourself from tradition and expect to get any healthier. You can lose weight, but remember, weight loss is not a great thing, nor is it a measure of how much health you're going to get or you're going to gain. Even plain COVID infections are leading to weight loss. No one is feeling healthier at the end of it. People are having, long-term fatigue, long-term breathlessness, long-term lethargy and tiredness. So remove yourself from this whole balloon of what all can what all can weight loss do for you? It can't do anything, but health gain can do a lot, and it will help you drop weight over a period of time. The third trap that most of us fall into when it comes to weight loss is, the first one, like I told you, it's about looking at food from food groups. The second one is looking at food from just, बस निकाल ही दो, अभी खाना ही बंद कर दो, ये 2 ही बार खाओ या बस 1 ही बार खाओ and stuff like that. The third trap now, which is also extremely common, is the trap of spices. के बस ये spice आपको लेना है, ये सुबह उठ के you need to have shots of this and you're fine. So you have people waking up to haldi shots. There are a few others who are having shots of, what is it? Maybe cinnamon. A few others are having shots of ajwain and stuff. It's like they overdosing on a particular drug. Well, paracetamol, going back to paracetamol or just plain ibuprofen, may be extremely efficient in lowering body's temperature. They may be anti-inflammatory. They can bring relief from pain. They can do many wonderful things, but they do those wonderful things when they're allowed to reach your body in a certain way. No pharmaceutical company makes even the most common drug as paracetamol as just paracetamol. They ensure that the pill is rounded. There is a masking agent. There are things which you take so that when someone is swallowing the pill, they are not getting annoyed by the taste of the drug or by the molecule, that they are actually able to digest it well, so that it goes and it begins to function only on the site of action. Now, this whole drug target response relationship is something which the pharmaceutical industry respects. Now, you have the exact same relationship which women of India have really practiced by cooking various things. So whether it is haldi, finally as a drug, or curcumin as a drug, which you think as a molecule is effective, but for it to be effective, it needs to be masked in a certain way. It needs to be digested in a certain way so that it's reaching the sites that you want, in an active form, which is why everything that we make at home, whether it is dahi, whether it is chas, whether it is the spices that we use like haldi, like ajwain, like hing, we use it as a part of the complete meal. We just shots of it is not going to help, nor is it a quick way to lose weight, nor is it a quick way to cleanse. A lot of people are like, okay, what's the best way to cleanse? To use common sense is the best way to cleanse yourself of any ideas of shortcuts to health and fitness. So, to cut a long story short, what should your day look like? What can you do to build health? And what does health really mean? In chemistry, we have nomenclatures so that you do not mistake one drug for another just because you're calling it by the same name. Nomenclatures are unique, and they mean that if I say that this is the nomenclature that I'm using, whether I'm in India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Belarus, or wherever, I am talking about the exact same thing. Now, health is something similar to that. Health is the exact same thing. It can exist in different people, in different regions, for all genders and age groups. But what it will do is that when you wake up feeling energetic. When you sleep feeling nice and happy and fulfilled. When you meet your friends, you feel happy. When you're eating, you feel grateful. When you're done with eating, you don't feel dull and tired and needing a sugar or a cigarette or a coffee or a tea to stay awake. When you sign up for the gym, you land up going and exercising because that is what you naturally feel like doing. When you get your periods, you don't get any cramps, you don't get any dullness. So this day-to-day feeling of lightness, this day-to-day feeling of enthusiasm, this day-to-day feeling of aspiring for more is what health and fitness is all about. That is what we are trying to achieve in our life with a proper diet. And before I tell you what your day should look like, I also want to tell you that please, you belong to the pharmaceutical industry. You belong to the smartest subset of the, of all the industries that exist out there. Do not let anyone tell you that they should be the ones telling you what is the right quantity of the food that you should be eating. For the right quantity of food, all you need are these three S's. Sit down every time you're having a meal, eat your meal with all your senses, and eat your meals slowly. If you sit, if you use your senses, and if you eat your meal slowly, you will know at what point you should stop the food that you're eating. You will never overeat because everyone is born with the ability to self-terminate the act of eating. In fact, Hatha Yoga Pradipika says that a person who knows where to stop eating is the sign of a wise person. And the reason why it is a sign of a wise person is because every day you're differently hungry. Some day you want this much food, some days you want this much, some days you want only that much, some days you want a lot. And many things influence our appetite. The weather influences the appetite. You're hungrier in winters, you're less hungrier in summers. Who has cooked the food will influence your appetite. The company in which you're eating will influence your appetite. How much bonus did you get this year will influence your appetite. Just many things influence our appetite. What we need to be is respectful of our appetite. Never eat more than what you need, never eat lesser than what you need. You'll always feel worthy of the food on your plate. Sit down, eat slowly, eat with all of your senses. The Canada Food Guide of 2019, the latest nutrition food guide, also considered to be the world's best food guide, or puts this out as the gold standard of eating correctly. It makes no references to portion control. So what I'm trying to say to you is that science is quickly coming onto the page, onto the same page that your grandmother always was. So don't wait for science to catch up. Don't think that your grandmother is not scientific just because she's ahead of time. All right, being ahead of time is not a crime. It's a great thing. Everyone in pharmaceutical industry knows that. So celebrate that even when you see it at home. Your grandmother is ahead of her time. She gives you her information not in the form of a pharmacopoeia. She gives you her information in the form of oral wisdom, in the form of stories, muhavre, songs, and culture. So uplift, understand that your oral wisdom is as strong as a big fat pharmacopoeia. All right. And the third thing that you should know about your grandmother is that she gives out this oral wisdom in her native language, in Malayali, in Bengali, in Urdu, in Kannada, in Marathi, in Marwadi. She's not going to be talking to you about this wisdom in English. And just because she's not talking to you about it in English, or it's not coming in the form of a pharmacopoeia, and because it's coming ahead of its time, do not make the mistake of undervaluing her offerings. All right. So with that, what should your day look like? When you wake up, start your day with a fresh fruit or start it with nuts. और ठीक है, so जिन को भी periods का problem है, start with black raisins. जिन को भी migraine का problem है, start with a banana. जिन को भी diabetes का problem है, start with nuts. जिन को भी बालों का वगैरह problem है, you can start with raisins and a little bit of kesar. That's how you start your day with. For your breakfast, eat something which is wholesome. Poha, upma, idli, dosa, paratha, anything that you feel like. And if you think that, you know, making breakfast is taking, cooking breakfast is taking a lot of time, just try falling sick once. See how much time that takes to recover from. And if cooking breakfast is, you know, I mean, it's a worthy investment in keeping the immunity up and keeping the health up. And we are also, ladies and gentlemen, living in 2020. All of us have to contribute together as a family. If lockdown has taught us one thing, it has taught us the importance of gender neutral homes and kitchens. And it is really the time for Indian men to lend, well, to lend their hand in the kitchen and at home. Please do not become a burden on us. Please do your bit in the kitchen, because keeping good health is a joint responsibility. All right. So make some good breakfast for yourself. Now, before you eat lunch, eat a little something. Now, this little something can be a homemade sharbat, it can be nariyal pani, it can be freshly set curd, it could be chas. So by about 10:30, 11:30, eat one of these things. It could just be a fresh fruit, or it could simply be a handful of nuts, you know. So one of these things by about 11:30. Now, why should you be eating a mid-morning meal? Well, almost everyone in pharma has a delayed lunch. After that lunch, they feel dull, groggy, and sleepy, and the only way they wake themselves up with is with a chai or a coffee, or, you know, with a cigarette. Now, none of that is going to work. What To ensure that you're not eating too much for lunch, you need to eat something between your breakfast and lunch, all right? Which is why you need to have this wholesome meal as in this light meal, sorry, that of a sharbat or a fresh fruit or a nariyal pani, nimbu pani, chas and so on. What about lunch then? Well, lunch can be either a roti sabzi or it can be dal chawal, but you must ensure that there is some homemade chutney to it. It could be a kadi patta chutney, it could be a dal ka chutney, it could be coconut chutney, it can be peanut chutney. Any of these chutneys, especially if you feel that you are menopausing as a woman, or if you feel that you are getting insulin insensitive, or if you feel that the rest of you is okay but the stomach is coming out, and every morning you feel that your stomach is not as clear as you would like it to be, if it's any of these things, make sure that there is a chutney in there. And also please make sure that your lunch has ghee. So these two things, you need to ensure that the lunch has chutney and the lunch has ghee. Ghee is also important for people who have who have low vitamin D and low vitamin B12. आजकल public vitamin D supplements पे overdose कर रहा है, but the fat or the molecule which makes it easy for your body to assimilate vitamin D is ghee. So make sure that there is ghee in there. It's a fat soluble vitamin. You all know that it's an essential fat. So ghee is an essential fat. So either a ghee and chutney for lunch. Then between your lunch and an evening meal by about 4 or 6 o'clock, you can again have something like that you had at about 10 or 11, which is like a sharbat or a chas or dahi. Then between 4 and 6 o'clock, eat something wholesome. And the reason why you need to eat something wholesome by 6 o'clock is there is this hormone cortisol which needs to dip by 6 p.m. in the evening, because if it doesn't dip by 6 p.m. in the evening, then you will not sleep well in the night. If you don't sleep well in the night, you will wake up older, fatter, duller, and not younger, fitter, and sexier. Now, if you don't want to wake up older, fatter, duller, eat something by 6 p.m. in the evening that prevents you from overeating dinner and in the night, which then prevents you from sleeping well in the night. So you can have anything at all by 4 or 6 o'clock. This is also the time when most people mess up with their diets and land up eating a samosa and a bhel puri and stuff. But what you can really do is eat a banana, or you can have roti jaggery ghee, you can have chivda, you could have a murukku, a chakli, something which lets you have a proper dinner. And then by 7 or 8 o'clock in the night, make sure that you're having a wholesome dinner. The grain which is the lightest which is really light to digest is rice. And rice is really nice. A lot of people, when they hear rice, only think about carbohydrate. But remember that rice is one of the meals which actually accelerates your fat burning. There was a research paper at an obesity conference recently which said how eating rice actually helps people stay thinner and keeps populations thinner as compared to non-rice eating populations. And you all know that the way we Indians eat rice, we eat it in the form of a khichdi, or we eat it in the form of kadi chawal, rajma chawal, chole, dal rice, and dahi rice and stuff. So that already more than helps you regulate a blood sugar response even when you're using rice, because you're always eating it in combination with dal or dahi and sabzis and stuff. So make sure that that's dinner. And if you're sleeping really late in the night, then make sure that there's a little bit of haldi milk that you take. That way you're not going hungry to your bed. Your stomach needs to be almost light by the time you go to bed. And dinner, this milk in the night is crucial for people who don't have good sleep, who wake up every now and then in the middle of the night to go use the loo, who also land up having problem of gas or nightmares, and also the ones who have weak joints or thyroid issues. So for all of you, a little milk in the night is extremely useful. So that's what your day could look like. You can even refer to my book, The 12-Week Fitness Project, because it lists out all 12 habits that you need to inculcate so that you're having better health, because it is only good health which leads to drop of weight and not really the other way around. So with that, I'm going to take questions if you have any. And just to quickly recap, don't look at food from the point of carbohydrate, protein, and fat. Don't look at food from the point of long gaps. Don't look at spices as something which you need to overdose on. Make sure that you do not divorce common sense in the hope of losing weight. Do things that you can do on a day-to-day basis to improve your health, because improved health leads to sustained weight loss, weight which will not come back. Otherwise, you will have weight which comes back, piles back on, comes down, piles back on, and then it's just like an endless story and saga, and you don't want any of those things to happen. So I think, Sarayu, you want me to just pick up questions from here and start answering?
Hi. Okay, so there are a few questions. How effective is Kada to increase immunity?
All right. But before that, Sarayu, I really want to thank you and your dad and Ideal Cures and everyone, for really organizing this, and because it's really been, I've really enjoyed myself this evening talking to everyone. And as far as Kada goes, well, the thing with Kada is that Kada was always good. Kada continues to stay good, but it shouldn't need a pandemic for us to really view our traditional recipes in a new light. We first, I used to think that we just need foreign press to view our recipes in new light, that we were not having haldi doodh until it was called golden milk or turmeric latte, that we were not really, I mean, sabudana khichdi ke bare mein bhi New York Times mein article aa gaya, so now maybe we will start eating sabudana khichdi, is what I used to think. But now I also feel that it also takes a pandemic for us to realize the value of everything which we have always known, whether it is the value of rice kanji, whether it is the value of a kadha, whether it is the value of just gargling. All of it is good, but it is good only like the way your grandmom asked you to do it. So if you're going to go from having never had a kadha to someone who's constantly having kadhas, like 8 kadhas a day, 10 kadhas a day, then it's not going to work. So a kadha is like a medicine. So a little bit per day is fine. Too much of it, and it's probably going to leave you with a sore throat instead of repair it for you.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.
What is your take on traditional fasting? So a lot of people actually have asked this question on the chat.
Okay. All right. So
intermittent fasting.
Right. See, earlier, about 10 years ago, or until 10 years ago, every diet trend came on the basis of this is science, you know, we are talking calories, we are talking carbohydrate, we are talking whatever. And every theory, one after the other, got shot in its face. Now the new thing is to come on the basis of culture. You know, now it is to come on, dekhiye, whatever that we are asking you to do, you were always traditionally doing this, all right? You were always traditionally fasting. So you should fast because this is all that this diet is asking you to do. It is asking you to fast, which you were always fasting. This has a term. It is called as cultural appropriation. It is picking up something that you had, making something out of it that doesn't represent your culture, but then selling it to you as your own culture, and therefore hoping that you will accept it much more widely. I'll just point out a few basic differences between traditional fasting and the weight loss fasting. All right. Number one, traditional fasting is called fasting only in English. Otherwise, its traditional name is Upavas. Upavas in Sanskrit means sitting close to reality. It has nothing to do with not eating for a very, very long time. That's the first difference. The second thing is that the whole meaning of Upavas is when you sit close to reality. And Upavas comes in various names, you know, so you have Navratrika Upavas, you have um, Sankashti, you have Lent, you have Ramzan, you have like Upavas, for them have many names, but the whole concept is to sit close to reality, is to understand the reality. And then this whole reality is that we are not really our bodies, that our body is something which is going to, you know, which takes birth, which grows, which matures, which changes, which decays, and which eventually dies. So there should be lesser and lesser obsession with our own body and with just our own life, and there should be more and more focus on the society and community at large. That's something that the traditional upavas or fasting is asking you to do. Traditional fasting is also done by people who are already leading a sattvic life, so they are already leading a clean life. The modern weight loss fasting is for people who are leading a toxic life, and it is offered as a method of cleansing and offered as a method of weight loss. A traditional fast will never ask you to not eat for many hours, you know. It will ask you, in fact, to build more diversity in your diet. So, आप कुट्टू खाइए, आप राजगिरा खाइए, आप sweet potato खाइए, you eat nuts, you eat milk, you drink milk. So the focus is on eating certain types of food. In the non-traditional fasting or in the weight loss fasting, you could be eating chicken, you could be eating meat, you could be eating anything at all, and or as long as you maintain, like, let's say a 12-hour, not 12-hour, you maintain a 16 or an 18 or a 20-hour gap, you are fasting. Now that's not really the meaning of a traditional fast. If you look at tradition, the same tradition which spoke about upavas also spoke about having haldi milk in the night. It is something which the weight loss fast will not allow you to do, because then there is just such a long gap in between your, because then it doesn't allow you to have a long gap between your meal. A traditional fast will ask you to eat sabudana khichdi. A weight loss fast will tell you that it is just too many calories, you know. So the differences are way too many. The very fact that none of us had heard the term intermittent fasting, but everyone has done an upavas every now and then, says a lot. Upavas is something which is done once in a while, you know. Kabhi sankashti ka, kabhi navratri ka, kabhi Ramzan ka to kabhi Lent ka. It is not something that you do every single day so that you lose weight. So the differences are way too many. Please do not allow anyone to have culturally appropriate this, because then it will be a shame. It will be the same thing ke jaisa yoga आया वेस्ट के थ्रू, वैसे ही फिर फास्टिंग आएगा weight loss industry ke through. It will become what it is not, and we should try and ensure that that is not what we do to fasting. That should surely not be the case. So all right, there's a Zohra Hajini Singh. I'm a big fan. I have an 11-year-old daughter who's schooling online. Can you please help me with it? I think you know a lot of schools have also now taken initiative to kind of take breaks. They give them a little energizers, encourage your children to stand up every now and then in between their classes, teach them to do things which do not require looking at the screen away from their schooling time, because then that is something which will really allow their eyes to recover. So to look at something really far off than to look at something very close by. All of these eye exercises that one learns in Bharatnatyam is something that we can teach our children, and make sure that children are having access to water, fresh fruit, handful of nuts, and a wholesome snack during their school hours. So from 10 to 4, if they are going to be busy with school, make sure that they do have in a lunch, they do have a fresh food, they do have adequate water and access to nuts. That's something that one can surely do.
Uh, you have
Yes,
time for one last question?
sure.
There have been so many questions on chat, but unfortunately, we can't answer all of them. I'm sure.
Right.
When is it better to drink water, before the meal or after the meal?
All
Or
right. So we'll take that as the last question. When is it better to have water? So first of all, every time is a good time to have water. ठीक है, पानी पीने में कोई हर्ज नहीं है. Traditionally, what we would do is every meal would start with a glass of water, and then in between the meal and after a meal you can sip on water, but don't really have gut karke water. Also, every time that you're having water, make sure that you're sitting down and drinking water. Don't walk around and drink water, unless of course you're on the sports field. Sit down and drink water, because in terms of yoga, the yogic wisdom about water, by the way, the yogic wisdom about fasting is that one should never be fasting. That's what the Hatha Yoga Pradipika says. The Hatha Yoga Pradipika also says that every time that you're drinking water, you must always sit down and drink water, because drinking water is directly influences the prana or the breathing of your body. So if you are going to be walking around and drinking, then yoga makes drinking water similar to the most meditative state. And they say that because all meditation is also done sitting down, drinking water should also be done something, we should be done sitting down. And as far as the complete quantity or volume of water that one drinks through the day goes, I feel that for most of us, between 3 to 5 liters is a good volume of water, depending on the season, depending on what your overall day looks like, depending on how much time you spend in the AC and therefore in a dehydrating environment. Always look out for your urine color, because that is what is going to tell you if you're drinking too much or too little. So if your urine looks brown, red, dark yellow in color, then it means that you do need to up your water intake. Urine should look like crystal clear, light yellow at the most in color. So just the very basic stuff, and you will know exactly how much water to drink.
Great. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Thank you for this informative session, and thank you everybody for attending. This is a small initiative by Ideal Cures to make sure that everyone stays fit and fine during this pandemic. Let's hope that we get out of this situation very quickly. Thank you, Rujuta, for being a part of the Ideal Cure
Thank
Smile.
you very much. Thank you. Thank you for this, Sarayu. Thanks a lot. And please thank Mr. Parikh from my side too.
He
Right?
just wants to say thanks to everyone. I'm just calling.
Okay.
Hello, Rujuta. How are you?
I know I'm very good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We are, away from Mumbai for some time.
Yes, I
Yeah.
know, but it's nice that you're sitting there and having such lovely initiatives. It was really nice connecting with all of your people, and thank you so much for taking this, for doing for the Ideal Cures initiative, because it's really a beautiful way to stay connected in these times.
Oh, I have to thank you. Thank you for helping us in spreading this smile at this time, and really appreciate you taking time for this.
Like
And
the pleasure's
you
mine.
know, Rujuta, I have very fond memories of the time I spent with you in the
Yes,
camp at Rishikesh. And I think that
yes.
was one of the best times, best holidays, I would say,
Thank
with
you.
fitness, and one of the best foods, and one of the best evenings one could really have together in such a fellowship. So just to let everyone know that Rujuta does have Himalayan holidays every year. Generally, is done at Rishikesh and Darjeeling, and sometimes in Manali, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
I happen to be attending one of those at Rishikesh, uh, where all we stayed in the ashram. It was a yoga camp by famous Usha ji, and who is a disciple of a younger sir. And I tell you, it was really lovely. We were on Ganga banks, and I've never been to Rishikesh. So for me, it was really, really very good experience.
Oh,
And
great.
today, what you talked, I have seen you doing when we were in the camp. Such nice food,
Mhm.
prepared so well under your supervision, and you bringing ghee and achar from Mumbai for all of us. That was superb. Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
Rujuta.
Not at all.
Really,
Thank
really, it
you.
was very useful. I'm sure everyone liked. We will share you some of the feedback we get, and maybe we would have another such session if people are happy about that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Look
Thank
forward to that. Thank you and good night,
you,
everyone. Thank
everyone,
you. Thank you.
for joining us for this evening. Pleasure to have you all with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.